Tuesday. It's what we do. We just sit around, smoke a pound, and talk about what we do in the cannabis world. We gon' let you know how the business go on a brand new show. Token Tuesday. Show you how to do it right.
We kicking off Token Tuesday today. I got to my left Keith Williams, who's been in the industry for quite some time, and to my right I got Marco. So we gonna do brief introductions because we gotta let y'all know why we here and why you should tune in to Token Tuesday. Welcome to Token Tuesday, powered by California Cannabis, where only the best grows in the West.
Straight up.
So I got Marco to my right, and I'm we're gonna talk to Marco for a minute. Marco, talk about where you came from, how you got in the industry. Just let the people know, how you'll start, how you made your start, who you are. Yeah. Why should I listen to you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yeah.
What can you tell them that, they can't just get off the news, or they could go hit up one of their homeboys on the corner or say, oh, I know somebody in the cannabis industry. That's it. Everybody knows somebody.
Everybody knows somebody these days.
You feel me? So they talk about, oh yeah, I know somebody in the cannabis. Let me call my dude.
Right.
And the information is no good.
No
facts, false information. Somebody told somebody who told somebody who told somebody that ain't even from the industry. So talk to us, man.
All right,
Tell
man.
us about
I appreciate that, brother. So I'm gonna let y'all know I've been in the game for I'll say about 25 years now. I started, in 2003 up in the Valley in the 818 area, opening dispensaries. Once I graduated high school in 2001, already doing my little thing, right. on the other side, and then kind of following the industry and seeing where it was going.
So Marco,
Prop 36.
When you say the other side, tell the people what the other
Hey, the other side is the streets, man. Yeah. So I'm going to keep it a buck. You feel me? I'm going to keep it a buck. That's where I really started. Started since I was 12, 15, started going a little harder. And then by then I started realizing, man, this was just I guess I would say a way out for me. It was just a way for me to stand on my own 2 feet. I was also following and seeing that it was something that felt right. It didn't feel wrong in comparison to what many of my other peers were involved in. I felt like I was actually doing something good for the people. I love the community that it brought, the camaraderie that it brought, and the experiences that it brought, and the lifestyle. So once I did turn 8, Prop 36 saved me. I ain't gonna lie. Prop 36 had just come out, and Prop 36 came out for those of us who, I guess you could maybe say they considered sales, but then they were able to bring it down to user. So some of us had to do rehab and things like that. But I went through my whole little time period since 1996. Big bro, in 96, I was still in high school. He was already doing his thing, in the stores and stuff. But I got into the stores in 2003 when I started realizing, I'm like, nah, this is going somewhere. This is really going somewhere. And plus, Prop 36 made me believe in myself a little bit more. Once I started seeing laws to protect us in cannabis, especially, I was like, yeah, this is going a step in the right direction. So since then, I've been going extremely hard. Since then, I've been opening stores, owned, operated, managed, you name it. Every single aspect of it. Back in the day when you had to be the bud tender, the janitor, the buyer, the security guard.
You was damn near the owner, the manager. You was running the
whole shebang. Even the street politics. We had to be in and out of the store.
So let's tell them really, because y'all don't really understand. The cats that own the store, that really own the store, they wouldn't even show up to the store.
They won't even show up.
You know what I'm saying?
They wouldn't even show up.
They left cats like Marco in the store to run the store.
Yeah.
So Marco, let's fast forward to a situation where the store got raided.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the owners, of course, want to take the step back approach.
Yeah.
And now everything resting on Marco now that the store gets raided. This is what we call licensure in the Measure M license.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
So Marco catches a case behind this.
Mm-hmm.
It has to go to court. And the owners don't want to step up and take responsibility. They want Marco to carry the bag. So talk a little bit about that, because y'all don't understand the early days of this industry.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I mean, people don't understand a lot of the things that were going on in the early days and how, you know, a lot of us were the face. And this is, I guess, how we grew up, though. And I would always tell people in the industry, like we were talking about earlier, people want recognition and want to be known. But back then, everybody want to be in the shadows. So they put some of us in the forefront that were willing to be in the forefront.
Absolutely.
And take the grunt while they could just maneuver, shut down, reopen, and their name is good. But some of our names is getting and get their bread. While some of us are using our names to kind of like destroy our names so then they could recreate something else with somebody else's name to destroy again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, for a paycheck.
It was all about, so what they would do is just, let's keep it real. They would exploit us because we needed a job, we needed an opportunity, we needed money to feed our families and to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So what they would do is find us in that vulnerable state, so to speak, and say, look, man, I'm not saying we didn't know what we was getting into.
Right.
Yeah,
we signed up for it.
We signed up for it. At the end of the day, that's still being put in a vulnerable situation.
Right.
Because even though you signed up for it, and people say, well, you know, you could have went and got a job. Yeah, what, working at McDonald's for what?
For what?
$10 an hour back then?
Yeah.
$10 really? $10 an hour back then? You're
Yeah.
not going to feed no family on that.
Not at all.
You're not going to take care of yourself and have an opportunity to advance in life.
Yep.
So what they were giving was a few more bucks on top of that.
Yep.
You know, we'll pay you $20, $25 an hour.
Yep.
Okay, now that's a little more juicier. So all you got to do is run this, and some of them will really not let you know what you was really getting into. They would lead you to believe that the paperwork that they had and the business that they opened was all legit until the raid come. And then when the raid come, all of a sudden they all of a sudden they can't talk now. You know, the paperwork, well, my lawyer said, and then they said, and this person said, but the cops is coming in.
They're coming in raid, regardless. Yeah. And some of us would have that fair warning and we would know, but people would still be operating anyways. And you know, we used to get that little letter letting you know they didn't tell you when,
but we coming to see you.
You didn't know when. And we thought we'd have a year, 6 months.
You know,
you just didn't know.
See,
you know,
people don't know that. They don't know about them days with the letter. See, I got a letter straight.
Yeah, I used to get letters off.
I got my letter from the feds. It was a DEA landlord. We called it a DEA landlord threat letter. See, y'all don't know nothing about that. Cause see, y'all ain't been in the game that long. You've been in the game long enough where we could talk about a landlord DEA threat letter. Now, how many of y'all got that? How many of y'all that talk about, oh, I love the industry, I'm down for the industry. Oh, I can guarantee you ain't nobody from them so-called companies that are out there, and y'all companies know who I'm talking about, but y'all ain't never got a DEA landlord threat letter.
Nah.
The ones that are benefiting off the backs of people like us.
They don't know what that is. They don't know what that is.
They ain't get that.
They don't know that.
They ain't been raided 2-3 times like we've been raided. And I'm not talking about an unlicensed and an unregulated shop. I'm talking about a Prop 215 licensed shop.
Right.
We talking about shops that have paperwork, and the reason why they are there, not these ones you see that got a green cross propped up in front of it. No markings on the building, maybe green numbers on there saying, you know, letting people know we are a dispensary, but we really ain't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We one of these rogue shops, trap shops, you know what I'm saying? So, this is, and so talk about all of a sudden now you in court. You in court facing charges for something that the owners wouldn't even come defend you. Did they pay for your attorney?
I think we split it.
Okay.
Yeah, we split that.
So see,
we split that. We split that because luckily I had a decent relationship with my squad. But at the end of the day, I still took the hit though.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying? I still took the hit.
The way I see it is,
I still took the hit.
You're working for me and you take a hit. you ain't splitting nothing. I'm
Yeah.
paying for all that, right?
Yeah.
Because ain't that how the game's supposed to go? You my worker. I'm supposed to bail you out and pay for your attorney fees because you on the front line for me.
For me. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, Marco splits it. He's in court. Now what?
Yeah. And then that's when I hit you up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hit him up because during that time, Prop D was.
Oh, yeah, Prop D.
It was a Prop D issue. It was really a Prop D issue.
About the Prop D
yeah,
stuff.
it was a Prop D issue, and that's really what we was going through a lot was the Prop D issue.
Yeah.
Because that was just like a loophole. Give us licenses, but know that you can shut us down.
Absolutely.
Like it was the city always been playing games, always been issuing these things, allowing people to have it, and then knowing that they could take you out.
And that's when you got these bullshit city attorneys in office trying to create a name for themselves. Like back then, there
Margolian.
was Bruce. Yeah, well, not Bruce was a lawyer.
He was a lawyer.
But
that's true.
The city attorney was, I'm gonna think of his name, but anyway, he was the one that started crashing down on everybody when he became city attorney. Now the crazy part about it, and his name is gonna come to me. Mm-hmm. This city attorney came to the cannabis industry, personally us, GLACA, Greater Los Angeles Caregivers Alliance, and asked us for his support. We rallied behind him. We rallied behind this dude that ended up attacking us once he got in office. He got in office, and then he turned around and started sending abatement letters. Yeah. Started sending those nuisance letters.
Nuisance. I hated the nuisance
letters.
Because the nuisance that the trash outside, or the packaging outside, or the traffic of the people coming in and out, all that nonsense.
All that nonsense. So under that a nuisance abatement act, they could just come in and say anything. Mm-hmm. Your lights is too flashing, too bright.
Yeah, it's too bright.
That's a nuisance.
Yeah.
This a nuisance, that's a nuisance. So anyway, he comes in, and this clown comes in, and he begins to start having us raided by the LAPD using that nuisance letter. And so what we ended up doing, because we were strong as a community, as a cannabis community back then, we got him out of office. And to this day, that dude cannot hold office as anything. So he's now have to go be a private attorney. And ain't nobody in LA messing with him because of what he did. Because of what he did. He attacked the industry. That's when we were strong and banded together. Yeah. That's before all of these other cats from other industries came in. But let me pivot over here to Mr. Keith, because we got Keith over here to my left, Keith Williams, innovator, manufacturer, distributor in the cannabis industry, has a social equity license, came in back in the days when social equity was getting started, and jumped in with rest in peace Donnie Anderson, who, you know, he and I was rolling side by side back in the day in the cannabis industry to, you know, push for social equity and champion Measure M. Yep. So Donnie played a heavy role in that on the state side. He was chair of the NAACP Cannabis Task Force, the whole 9 yards. So Mr. Keith and Donnie partnered up, and they were moving together, doing what they were doing. Opened up a business, got a social equity license, and became players in the cannabis industry. We're going to pivot to Mr. Keith. Mr. Keith, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, the one thing that you left out, I'm also the CEO of Exploitation Delivery. And that's right. One of the things that we do is support events. So if you have an event and you need a cannabis presence, and it's driven by California cannabis, so we know exactly where the product comes, but we can't come and support you in that way. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, for me, I come from the west side of Chicago, and throughout the world, cannabis has always been a cash crop that a black man could supplement his income with. I say that from a standpoint, when you look at today's market and what's going on, this is probably the worst time that I've ever seen where you could take a pound of weed and literally double your money. In today's market, you might make about 20, 30% off of it. So that's a drastic drop in a cash crop that we've all, been able to enjoy and supplement our income with. Me, personally, I'm an industrial engineer. I have a master's degree. I have street knowledge and street credit, but a combination of all that is pretty much wisdom, being able to see what's going on, being able to evaluate it, and really be able to pick a lane out for myself. And then with the experience that I have to the right of me, a pioneer and a person that has, pretty much dictated how cannabis can be sold and cascaded for a customer. Together, what we are doing is really creating industry from the supply side all the way to the demand. And I enjoy working with these guys because I get a wealth of knowledge as far as the things that these are laws that were created even before I got into the industry. But we see a breadcrumb of laws that add up to really nothing. Because if you look at the industry, we're not being able to collectively come together and build it out where you can make a living wage for one another. Virgil, you mentioned that earlier that, hey, when you started in this industry, it was about making a living wage for you and your family.
Yeah.
We as licensees, that's all that we ask for right now today.
Yeah.
If you created this industry and is ran by the city and the state, there should be a way that what we put into it, that we can always regain that back, but also make a living wage on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
All right. So look, Mr. Keith. So we've touched on a lot of different things. Marco to my right, Keith to my left. We've touched on a lot of different things going on in this cannabis industry. So, but let me quickly introduce myself for those out there that don't know who I am. My name is Virgil Grant. I've been in the cannabis industry 30 plus years. I started out in the streets of Compton. I'm your player that's gonna keep it real. So let me just be honest with you about things, because people always say, man, you don't be honest. You kind of tone it down and you humble yourself with it.
Gotta talk that talk.
Now I'm gonna get raw on that cut, because this is the platform. We on Tuesday, y'all. We on Token Tuesday. So
I had my toke.
I'm gonna tell y'all the real now. I started out in the streets of Compton, and I ran that city. I worked at 3 projects in Watts. I was their supplier. I was the east side of LA supplier. East side, Main Street, Broadway, Avalons, the Hoovers, all the way up until the 8 trays, the 8-7s, the 60s, all the way through there. I'm telling you, I was the streets people back in the day. So we go all the way up into the Inglewood, the jungles, the overhills. Hey, look. You can't name a hood in LA that I wasn't messing with. Compton, Watts, I had it on lock. This was me. Everybody else was selling dope back then, cocaine. They was the D-boys. Nobody want to mess with weed. They was like, oh man, weed ain't making no money.
Yeah, that's
so
why.
We gonna get me. I wanted the weed money, while everybody else was messing with that cocaine, because I didn't want no parts of that.
Yes.
I was that weed man. So when you call that name Verge or Kali on the streets, y'all know who it is. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know what I did. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right.
I was running the show.
Yeah,
the rappers was rapping about me.
Right.
You listen to the Chronic album.
Right.
You listen to any of these albums coming out of Compton that was talking about any street hustling. Yeah, especially when it came to the Chronic. And that's what we called it back there. With the Chronic, the Bomb, the Crime Don. We had all kind of names for it. But that's what it was back then. Yeah. So coming up through the hustle game, and a lot of these cats in the industry can't talk about this.
Nah.
And then jumping into legalization. I opened up my first shop in 2004 in the city of Compton, licensed and legal by the city of Compton. First and only shop that was licensed in the city of Compton. 1321 East Compton Boulevard was the address I sat in and ran the first shop over there. There were no shops south of the 10 freeway. Back then, I was the only one existing. Nothing in Long Beach. There was no shops nowhere. I was the only thing existing, one, maybe a few in West Hollywood area, Santa Monica, Sunset, West Side, but existing on the South Central, south of the 10 freeway east side, that was me. That was all me. And so coming up through the ranks like that, I jumped into legalization, smart enough to jump into policy writing. ICO came in. That's why you hear the term pre-ICO. I sat on that committee to help craft the policy to create the ICO. All right, so then we moving this policy forward, and then now we're coming into Prop D and then Measure M, which I ran that campaign for, and I'm the one who created social equity. So all y'all that got licenses, that y'all manipulated the system to get a license for social equity program, you can thank your boy right here for that. Because if it wasn't for me creating social equity, y'all wouldn't have these licenses. Yep. So we just gonna keep it real on this show. 100, as Marco said, we gonna keep it a buck.
We're gonna keep it a buck.
We gonna talk about all kind of topics, from political issues, social issues, personal issues. We gonna go deep in the history of the cannabis industry. Let me tell y'all, I am a California cannabis historian. There is nobody in this industry you can pull out, no lawyer, no bum-ass lawyer. Let me say that. No bum-ass lawyer, because y'all think these goddamn lawyers know so much and they don't know shit. No bum-ass lawyer know more than I know about the cannabis industry, where it came from, how it got to where it is at present day, because ain't none of those real players left in the industry but me. I was here before Medman, Cookies, you name any shop, Jungle Boys, I don't care what brand you name in the cannabis industry. I was here before they was even thought of. Got to keep in mind, they were still running around in junior high school and grade school when I was in the industry playing hard in the game. When I was in the streets playing hard in the game, they was itching their daddy's pants. So I've been here from day one. So when you talk about real players, you talk about people, and I didn't come from no other industry. I didn't play basketball. I didn't play football. I wasn't a rapper. I wasn't none of that stuff. I was a cannabis player from the streets of Compton, doing what I'm doing, maneuvering through all of the Southern California area and doing my thing. So when we talk about people that are real players, you looking at one of the real players right here. So when I speak on something, you can best believe I'm speaking because I know firsthand. If I didn't create it, if I didn't do it, which I did them all, and I created majority of it, then I'm speaking from being side by side with the players that did help create what we have today in the cannabis industry. History. LA, Greater Los Angeles, was ground zero for the medical marijuana fight for the country. If LA would have got their heads knocked off and never made it, there would be no cannabis nowhere in the United States of America. Because if we would have got hit hard and crushed, then nobody else would have tried it. They would have said, shoot. In LA, we was aggressive. You shut us down, we open up. We reopen. You shut us down, we reopen 2, 3 more. And we keep opening and we keep opening. It was called civil disobedience. And that's what we use to further this cannabis industry to today. When I got raided in my 6 shops that I had from Compton to the Valley, I reopened every one of them the very next day. Filled it back up with product, cleaned up my store, fixed my cameras, got my doors fixed from them folks kicking it in, and then I reopened and I came right back. And that was what our mantra was coming into this industry. Y'all wouldn't have did that.
Nah.
As a matter of fact, I always say, y'all didn't even come in until it was safe.
It was safe. They don't know the risk some of us were really taking.
Man, it was look, 2 things that always was something I had to pay attention to when I was in the streets. And y'all know, because y'all been in the streets too, the jackers and the police, right?
Yep.
That was your thing. Keep your head on the swivel, the jackers and the police.
Yeah.
And so when we jumped into legal shops, we was still had to watch out for the jackers and the police.
Yeah.
Didn't nothing change.
Yeah.
It was just a different level of jackers and it was a different level of police.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, we're going to talk about very controversial topics. We're going to talk about those people like Marco and I was talking about. Everybody want recognition. Yeah. They want their name on the front cover of a cannabis magazine. They want an interview with the cannabis magazine. They ain't even been in the industry.
They want to be recognized.
Yeah, they want to be recognized.
Yeah.
They didn't even
we come from the days where we didn't want no recognition.
Come on.
You couldn't know who we was.
Man,
the number one question some of us hated was, So what do you do for a living?
Exactly.
I didn't want to answer. What you mean what I do for a living?
Oh,
Anything you do for a living.
Yeah, exactly. we did not just not answer it. We had little stuff made up on that. We was something else. So I'm in real estate.
I am a rapper. That's easy to believe.
You feel me? We was faking. We was somebody else. See, hey man, that's how the industry was, because your name wasn't your name. You wasn't who.
That's how we moved.
And so I remember when they were doing an interview on me, and they were starting to do this documentary, right? And the first thing they said, you don't have any pictures with these guys and rappers, and I'm looking at them like, what the fuck you talking about pictures? That's like asking the mafia, do you got pictures and shit?
They wonder why you there, why you shining like them. Like nah. We know who them three is.
But who is this? You know what I'm saying? I put up a picture, like, no, hell no. I was in no pictures with no rapper. Yeah. Because I already knew they was looking at them rappers. Yeah. And the first thing they were going to say is, damn, who is this dude that's around all these people? Yeah. You know, and next thing you know, they got a picture of me. Yeah. Now I'm public enemy number one.
Like Frank Lucas in the with the coat on. It's like, who that with the mink?
Hey, let me tell you something. My motto was no pictures, and my name ain't my name. Yeah. You feel me? Because it wasn't, I'm trying to live in this thing forever. Yeah. I ain't trying to get my top popped as soon as I get up on the block. Yeah. And now I'm serving, and next thing you know, it's I'm going to jail.
That's why it was Kali.
For real.
You looking for Kali, you looking for Virgil.
Yeah, so what? You know what I'm saying?
That's the truth. That's the truth.
So we're going to talk about a bunch of topics. We're going to talk about descheduling. Yeah. We're going to talk about real controversial things, because what I love is to talk about, I want to make sure y'all get the real facts. Yeah. So we're going to put people on Front Street. Yeah. That's just, hey, if y'all ain't ready to hear the real, this ain't the podcast y'all want to listen to. Yeah. Because Token Tuesday going to bring it to real. Yeah. Real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So.
Unfiltered.
Marco, talk to me about some things. When we play in this industry, our aim and objective is to do what we can, the best we can in this cannabis industry under the guides and the circumstances that we working with. Yeah. We understand how difficult it is, what we have to fight through. Right. Descheduling has been a topic for the past, I would say maybe 5 to 6 years, if not a little longer than that. That has really taken some serious traction and conversation. We also talk about the Safe Banking Act, which a couple of years ago I was the poster child for the Safe Banking Act. Keith can elaborate on some things regarding descheduling as far as where we would like to see descheduling, because at the end of the day, I mean, we would love to see it just totally off the schedule. Right. Descheduling does not do enough for us. It's almost like saying decriminalization. And this is what was floating on the East Coast. On the East, decriminalization. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about, we could just decrim it. Why would you decrim it? If you decriminalize something, let me explain to you about decriminalization. Decriminalization does just that. It does not make it legal, and it doesn't not make it a crime. It is still a crime. It's just decrim. It is decreased criminalization. Mm-hmm. So it turns it maybe into a ticket.
From a felony to a misdemeanor, or a misdemeanor to a ticket.
It's not a ticket. Right. But let me show y'all about a ticket. That ticket, if not paid, can turn into a warrant. Yeah, to a warrant. Turn into a warrant, and then guess what? Your ass still going to jail. Yeah. So jail is still results. Come on. So decrim doesn't do enough, just like descheduling doesn't do enough. Yeah. That's why when I talk to New York, I talked to Jersey, and they were in Connecticut, and they were talking decrim. I said, no, it's not decrim. It's legalization. Legalization is just that. Right. That means you have now made this legal. Mm-hmm. It is no longer a crime. You can no longer prosecute me for this. You can no longer give me a ticket that'll turn into a warrant that'll end up sending me away to jail, or giving me a hefty fine that I can't afford to pay, and then you levy or take my property, or you put me in jail, or both. Right. So descheduling, what does that do?
So you know what? That's a good topic for me to jump in on. So when you look at, well, what are the alternatives here? If you take it off the scheduling, and we're talking about the Controlled Substance Act, you take it off the scheduling and make it a free commodity, that means that anybody can sell it. That means we can sell it to children. There's literally no regulation to it. That's literally what an open market wants. Now, people that are pioneers that can say, hey, I've taken this from the beginning to where it is right now, that experience can now be able to be cascaded. Whereas with Schedule 3, now it's going to fall under a medical, like a medicine, like Tylenol with codeine or something, right? Now it has to be made in a clean environment. It's a medical regulation and compliance that it has to fit in from the manufacturing all the way to distribution. So now what comes in question is the recreational market. Now, can a medicinal product still be sold recreational, or does it have to go to a pharmacy, or do we have to go back to collectives where we have patient names and we keep up with them? There are so many questions that are left in this descheduling, but here's the biggest thing. One of the main reasons Black folks went to jail in the 1993 crime bill era was the RICO law, and that's literally 280E. We know for sure 280E is going to go away with descheduling. So that's the one good thing we can celebrate. But realistically, who does that help? The big conglomerates, because they have more debt that they need to hide. Right. Versus the small guy, he needs funds, he needs more of a demand. So it's 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other, but I don't see being Schedule 3 as helping the small guy. Because again, you took 280 away, I could write some of my losses off, right, but it still doesn't, automatically put more customers into the store, more sales, or more money into my pocket.
Yeah, so, and Keith brings up a good point. Taking away 280E, like you said, is a good thing, but it only helps the big boys. Mm-hmm. It'll help us because it'll bring 25 to 30% back to my business that I can write off. Because in the cannabis industry right now, we don't have no write-offs. Yeah. None. We pay the highest taxes, and we have no write-offs. So that is a business killer. Mm-hmm. When people don't understand, like, okay, we gave them legalization, but they also gave us a business killer by still keeping us in this quasi-legal, because we're still in a quasi-legal situation, mm-hmm, where a Schedule 1 drug, still illegal by our federal government, licensed by the city and the state to operate, but can't write off taxes, still have to pay the highest taxes. We pay higher taxes than Walmart. Yes, sir. We pay higher taxes than than Amazon. You name any corporation that exists here in the United States of America, and we in the cannabis industry pay more taxes than they do.
That's how they bleeding us.
As far as agriculture and a commodity or industry, we pay the highest. Yeah. And that within itself, it is not justified. No. Because if you look at, like, number one, we built out, like, let's just talk about supply and demand for a second. We built out cultivation, manufacturing. Then we came around to dispensaries. And in a lot of cities, we still dry. A lot of cities and counties right now today are still dry. Yeah, absolutely. So you are already out of place because you built all this, and then you start worrying about the demand. The demand should have been built first, so they could call and pull what's needed. Hey, we need X number of Gorilla Glue or X number. That's how manufacturing is done anywhere else. Why would it be different? Why would the supply chains be different in this industry?
Yeah, it was, creating this industry or trying to box this industry in. There was a lot that they didn't think about, and the powers to be. All the governments saw, and all of the governments saw, was taxes. How much money could we collect from an industry? That's it. Not what support we could give them, not what grants we could give them, not what financial assistance we could give them to build the industry and make it stable, but all of the other things that helps an industry thrive. No regulation in the sense of enforcement on unlicensed and unregulated shops, what we call trap shops, rogue shops. those shops still exist, those grows still exist, those manufacturers still exist, and they want us to thrive without being able to write off taxes. So when you look at us as an industry, there is really no benefit for us being legal in the industry because what benefit do we get?
Zero.
You say, oh, we get a license. Okay, but that trap shop been open just as long as I have.
Yeah.
So whether they got a license or not, shit, who gives a shit?
And then the law benefits them just as
Yeah.
much because they only get misdemeanors.
Exactly.
They don't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Virgil,
So
let me ask you a question as an owner. How does it feel when a regulator comes to your door and nitpicking with you, and there's a trap shop right across the street with a line out the door, and literally they not even gonna say anything about what's going on that we both can see?
Exactly. Well, I've had them come in my shop and nitpick and regulate. And that was the first question I asked. I said, did you stop down the street at that shop you just passed that had the green cross out before you came to me? Oh, well, you're licensed, so we can only deal with the licensed facilities. Well, that made me feel like now, well, let me get rid of my license and then you can't come,
one of them.
and then you can't come in my door.
Yeah, and I can make more.
And exactly. And then I don't have to pay you nothing because I'm paying you to come regulate me.
Straight up.
My taxes are paying your check for you to come regulate me. My taxes, 10% of the taxes that are collected from the city of Los Angeles go to the LAPD. Why are they not shutting these rogue shops down? Why? If you collecting 10% of our dollars, so now I feel like back in the Boston Tea Party days where it's taxation without representation. Because I'm being taxed up the wazoo. And there's no representation or nobody that's supporting this legal system. And we have to continue to fight not to get the tax on tax on tax, which LA is doing, not to pay these high taxes in the state, which if you're a retailer, they done threw all of the taxes on the retailer. They didn't put the excise tax on you, sales tax on you, city tax on you, state tax on you. You got 4 taxes being in retail. Being a retailer is really not really the way to go here in the city of Los Angeles because they are retail cannabis unfriendly.
Yes.
And that's the real talk. So,
That's the truth.
there are just so many things that we want to bring to the public, educate you guys on, talk about, and it's so much to talk about. We're not going to be able to do it all in one sitting here, but we will be back on Token Tuesday to touch on certain topics here in the cannabis industry, relevant topics in the cannabis industry from real cannabis players, not fake and phonies. Like I say, we didn't come from those other industries. We come from cannabis. You know what I'm saying?
And we come from the mecca of cannabis.
Right. We come from the beginning we come from the mecca of cannabis. And we right here in California. We sitting in the city of Los Angeles doing this podcast. We come from ground zero of the medical marijuana fight, of the adult use fight, any fight dealing with cannabis, the failed war on drugs fight. That's right here, home base. We come from it. Y'all know because everybody in the United States of America wants California cannabis. It's California grown. We California cheese, California wine, California cannabis.
Oranges.
I tell everybody, when you want a good orange, you go to Florida. You want a good peach, you go to Georgia. You want some good whiskey, you go to Kentucky.
Kentucky got the whiskey.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody got their appellation of origin. Our appellation of origin is cannabis right here, California cannabis. Y'all know where it is. Y'all come get it every time. We steal, and y'all know, and people don't understand this, the overwhelming majority of the cannabis that is grown here in California doesn't stay in California.
Right.
It goes out of California.
Period.
Why? Because we supply the United States of America and the world in cannabis. Still to this day, we supply the world in cannabis. There is no other place that supplies this world in cannabis but us. We want to make sure that we get this off of the schedule so that a lot of us real players in the cannabis industry can continue to supply the best cannabis in the world coming from California. This is the mecca of
This
California
is it. Yeah,
cannabis.
this is it.
Grown right here in our lovely state. We are going to wrap this up today. We like to thank everybody for tuning in. My man Marco here.
Come on now.
My man
Appreciate
Keith
you.
here.
Come on now.
I'll keep it. Hey, we going to come back every Tuesday.
Come on now.
And we going to give it to you live.
Yeah.
Tune in. Now that you know who we are,
Yeah.
real players in this shit, now we getting ready to give it to you raw and uncut.
Yep.
And we going to come with some real shit for y'all next time.
Yep.
So tune in to Token Tuesday. Powered by California Cannabis, where only the best
Grows in the West, baby. You already know.
Token Tuesday, it's what we do. We just sit around, smoke a pound, and talk about what we do in the cannabis world.